but it wasn't evil. It was the way all humans act. All humans are evil in that sense.
That's what I was gonna say. If that
So
might be
it's
true,
it's
but yeah.
to deny that human beings all possess that capacity for evil would be denying their humanity. So it's, are you a human? Then you have a terrible capacity for darkness.
It's kind of the Jordan Peterson perspective when he says, if you were in Nazi Germany, you would be a Nazi, even if you say you wouldn't. Like you'd be a supporter at the time.
Exactly. That's why with all this COVID stuff, you see a mass psychosis similar to what we saw after September 11th, whereas rational people would look at September 11th as something that happens in the course of history for reasons that happens in reasons. But instead of responding rationally, we reacted viscerally, misdirected. And at that point, if you asked millions of Americans if they thought that we should carpet bomb or drop nuclear bombs on Afghanistan, what do you think they would have said?
But the lies they were told, I think they'd say yes because of what they were told,
Yeah,
circumstance-wise.
but there was still not even lies. There was hate.
Yeah, but it was hate
There was hate.
originated from fabrications and
No, I mean, if people saw the buildings go down, it brought up senses of patriotism, senses of empathy, and then that fear was met with hate. If you ask people after those towers went down, should we nuke this country? People's automatic responses would have been yes.
Yes,
There
but
were lots of people that would have wished death on other people for arbitrary means, like you said, fabrications. So to separate us as, to separate Hitler or someone who pulled the trigger, that would be like, that's evil. For example, we dropped 2 nuclear bombs.
yeah, only
Those are
country that would drop
genocidal.
them, yeah.
Those are genocidal. We dropped fire bombs in Dresden. Each of those killed between 50 to 100,000 people. That's evil. We committed evil. So are we evil?
I think I had this conversation with a family member recently. It's kind of the same. I don't think the American population is evil. I think this is my belief. I'm not speaking for you. I think we're run by evil individuals at certain levels. Yeah, personally, I think historically all countries have had evil leaderships. We've skimmed over a few of them. Whether we agree on the definition of evil or not, my perspective of evil, and again, I respect your view. I think there's mass evilness going on around the world. Personally, on different in every country, I think the people, MK Ultra, for instance, I think those people, the CIA director at the time, the president at the time, the DOD officials in charge, I think those people were inherently evil individuals for doing what they did and allowing it to happen. That's me.
Yeah, they're psychotic people. Definitely psychotic people, and definitely cruel people. And there are evil and cruelty. I understand these exist. But to simplify someone like Hitler as someone evil, as if he's non-human, is a terrible thing to do, because there was an ability for him to connect with humanity on the level he was operating on, which is why he would be considered a passionate leader that he was. That's to get that many people involved on a visceral level of nationalism, of hope. Those are all rational things that human beings are drawn to, because that didn't just happen in Nazi Germany or pre-Nazi Germany. It was also happening in fascist Spain, similar ideas of nationalism. It was also happening in Italy,
Yes.
concepts of nationalism. And Hitler was motivated by, what's his name? Mussolini. That was it. And these people weren't evil. They were manipulative, cruel, ambitious, maniacal. But those are all human traits. Those capacities are on in all human beings. And people always try to make those two seem as if, or even Stalin. Stalin's a little bit different, but as if those people are evil or they're crazy. They were very refined in what they were doing, in knowing that they wanted to be theater actors. Each one of them wasn't just some random guy, whatever. They had lots and lots of ambitions to be theatrical and artistic and public speakers at the time, like those beer halls speaking, that they actually had to be that good to take control of and connect with 100 minds in a room at a time. So something they said had to connect with the other 100 people in the room, which means if it connected, that means that there was truth to it. Whether it was factually based or not, it's by that saying truth is the way you interpret a fact.
That's what I was gonna say. I think that the way you present the information is a big thing. You look at weapons of mass destruction after 9/11. Blatant lie. Everyone knows it's a
Big
lie
time lie,
nowadays,
yeah.
but everyone was pushing that narrative, and people just regurgitated it. People didn't look into the people did look into the facts, but the majority of people didn't look into the facts. So I'm saying that can happen in any regime, in any country, in any situation.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just manipulate a truth or a lie, if you want to, whatever you want
Yeah.
to do, to rally troops behind you.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens very, very often. So, and again, I don't know. I'm not a historian in those areas.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I just think that it's really the lack of pressure against the leaderships from the people, because I guarantee you, during the height of the genocide in China or communist Russia or Nazi Germany or any of these countries, I guarantee you there was people of the population who realized, okay, this isn't what we signed up for. This isn't what we supported. This is absolute insanity. I guarantee you there was a large factions of the population. Bet you there was still factions that were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stay with these guys because this is my guy. There's always that, oh, this is my guy type of
Yeah.
thing.
And that's where I think it's at, is that the evil that we think and attribute to a certain individual, there are millions of people with similar mindsets behind that.
Yeah.
So we're all kind of evil in our own sense. But there is the
guess,
quality
yes.
of
Yeah.
good, but just as easily we have what's called techniques of neutralization, and they're a psychological rationalization that we add into our brain to justify cruelty that we commit to others or crimes or harm that you commit to others. Like one of them is denial of the victim, of saying, if you steal a chocolate bar from Walmart, a multi-billion dollar industry, and you steal a chocolate bar, you rationalize the harm that you caused by saying, well, there's no victim. You're neutralizing your criminality of stealing it by saying, well, there's no victim. I just stole it from Walmart. No one's going to know. They lose 1,000 chocolate bars a year. We do that in all sorts of ways. Another one would be known as an appeal to higher authority, whereas, why did you punch that cop in the face? Well, he was on top of my brother. So then your higher authority, fuck the law, your authority goes to your blood.
Yes.
So it's an appeal to a higher authority. We do that with our senses of nationalism, where we justify cruelty we do by appealing to a higher authority. Like, why did we drop nuclear bombs? Well, because we needed to save the U.S. That's not true.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
So we neutralize the harm we did and play a mental game by dehumanizing people who did it. Say, or you justify the harm of saying, well, they started Pearl Harbor and they were no, but you still killed 100,000. You're using techniques of neutralization to try to clear up what is objectively murder.
Yeah, that's you highlighted a very important point there. We always make sure the enemy is I'm not victimized, portrayed in the way that they're the worst thing to ever exist and never will exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No matter what country you are, your enemy is always portrayed as the epitome of evil, the epitome of danger. Yeah. It's like
it's wrongly, we dehumanize people.
Yes.
And that's what happens right now. We're seeing in our two parties, the dehumanization of you're lacking, not you, but people are not seeing the humanity in others and trying to understand why people would do terrible things. And like, for example, some of the reasons are some people see that January 6th mob action. Then other people complain about the Black Lives Matter mob actions, and they only look at one justified there. They look at the other as justified, and the other one they condemn, and they condemn the condemner. That's another
Yes.
technique of neutralization of saying, well, it's not us, it's you. Like we're not committing crimes. You guys are the offenders. So everyone just kind of dehumanizes each other, and we saw it so much as on the Republican side or whatever. We dehumanize people and call them libtards. That's one, and then they dehumanize people and by calling them illegals. It's not even a human; it's an illegal.
Yes.
You
Or
know,
an
like,
alien.
yeah, and you're just like, this is not. You're dehumanizing people,
Yes.
and then what they did again was dehumanize people. The left dehumanize people by saying, like, if you're unvaccinated, don't go to the hospital,
Yeah.
die. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You made that. That's a terrible way to neutralize wishing harm on another individual.